Today on Her View from Within, we're sitting down with a woman whose story is one of resilience, patience, and deep love. She's a mother to an almost 2-year-old miracle, a dedicated teacher shaping young minds, and a wife who has walked the emotional, complex road of infertility and IVF. In this episode, on Her View from Within, she opens up about the silent battles, the strength required to keep going when the future feels uncertain, and the life-changing moment she finally became a mom. This is Her View, from within the waiting, the heartbreak, the hope, and ultimately, the joy. Allison, welcome to Her View from Within.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to start this storytelling journey of my view and my journey through IVF.
Let's start from the beginning. Take us back to when you and CJ first got married.
Yeah, so we got married in 2018. We were ready to start a family in 2019. After a year of trying, I had to kind of face a fear, right, and ask for help. First going to the OBGYN and be like, we can't get pregnant. It's been a year. The first step was male infertility, which we soon learned that was our first main cause. First initial reactions to that, I was always hopeful, like, make it be me, nothing wrong with CJ, and then it wasn't. So that was kind of a hard battle to go through, of supporting him in that, but also knowing, like, I wanted it to be me so bad so I wouldn't hurt him. So our first step was male factor infertility. We did 2 IUIs in Sioux City, and then we were referred to Omaha Heartland Clinic, which has been amazing. We did a medicated IUI cycle down there. Once that, we actually did get pregnant our first time with IUI. Soon, within about 6 weeks, going in for that first ultrasound, we learned that our first pregnancy was ectopic. So just remembering, like, the nurse having that ultrasound and the doctor having to come in felt like an eternity waiting for the doctor to come in. And then we learned that it was ectopic. We were told we needed to stay in Omaha for a couple hours to figure out HCG levels, if it was going up, if it was going down, kind of what were the next steps. We learned that HCG was going down, which in our case was good, because if it was going up, we would have to do a methotrexate shot, which would basically terminate the pregnancy. So it was not that. After that, we had to do some scans and testing, and we found out that I would have to have surgery on my fallopian tubes. We went into that surgery thinking that they were going to have to remove one of the tubes because of the ectopic. We went in March, maybe March 21, and I woke up and I learned that they had to remove both of my fallopian tubes. So in that moment, I remember driving home and knowing this and just being devastated, because I knew the chances of natural conception were now gone. With one fallopian tube, there was still a chance we could still continue with IUI. With no fallopian tubes, it was IVF was going to be the option. And
you had to wake up finding out they took 2 instead of 1.
Right, yeah. I went in thinking that it was going to be a 1 thing, and I woke up and they took both.
So driving home, you had to reflect. Did you talk about that on the way home, or was it more you were reflecting in your mind, trying to gather yourself? So was it quiet? Was it, no, you're ready to talk to CJ? What did that look like?
Gosh, I think it was really quiet. It was me trying to process all of that information. It was me trying to figure out, what do I do next? What do we both do next? I remember that next day, my mom coming over, and it was actually her birthday the next day, and she just sat here. She goes, you know what? Nope, you need me more right now. I'm going to sit here with you, and just making sure somebody was with me during this whole process. So after my fallopian tubes were removed, my doctor kind of gave me the option, what do you feel comfortable with? Are you ready for IVF? I said, yep, let's do it. So we went through that first IVF round, medication, shots, the egg retrieval, all of those things that you don't think about until you start that process. The egg retrieval, we collected 16 eggs, and from that process, it kind of goes through about 2 weeks of, is it fertilized? Is it mature? All of the questions that the doctors go through. We did send all of our embryos to get PGT tested. So what that means is making sure, are they chromosomically accurate? Will this create a baby? With that, we froze 4 embryos. After that, we did our first transfer, which was so exciting. Not knowing what was going to happen, but hoping for the very best. We did the first one and it didn't work. I remember just being so devastated and kind of naive too, of like, this should work. It was supposed to work. It should work. I had people showing up at my house, which was huge in all of this process. Making sure that I was okay, that CJ was okay. And then that was in July of 22. November of 22, we're like, let's do another one. We're ready. But also kind of covering my heart, covering CJ's heart, making sure like we've done this and we've gone through this roller coaster. And that's when we got pregnant with our Paisley, who will be 2. So yeah, it's been a great journey on that end. And then we were ready for number 2. And we did a transfer and it didn't work. That one kind of, I was naive, but I wasn't. I was like, okay, we have Paisley. It's great. Let's do another one. It's going to work this time. And it didn't. So we kind of took a little break from that and then did another transfer, our last of number 4. And that one also didn't work. So right now we have Paisley and then we're going to go through another egg retrieval.
Take me back to getting pregnant with Paisley. I know you obviously you were excited.
Mm-hmm.
What did that feel like having not had success the first time?
Yeah, I remember just like not kind of telling anybody. We really kind of kept it a secret for like 7 to 9 weeks. It's funny with IVF that you know at 3 weeks. Like if you're pregnant, you know at 3 weeks. So even to hold that in, I was mostly like protecting myself, but I wanted to protect my family, my friends, and kind of their heart as well. So we kept it a secret for a while and then we let everybody know. The hardest thing I think also was the Heartland actually lets you go back to your OB. So kind of like leaving there was really hard, just to know like they've been with us the whole time. And now I have to go somewhere else.
How soon after you found out, because I believe you said they call you.
Yes,
right?
That is a waiting game.
So, yes. So you had to get blood drawn in the morning, correct? Mm-hmm. And then they call you with basically a yay or nay.
Yeah.
How soon after they called you with Paisley did you tell CJ?
I told him, I waited actually. So I took the afternoon off from school and waited around. And this is kind of crazy because it was probably 3:30 and the clinic closes around 3:34. And the nurse calls me and says, we don't have your test results. Did you get your blood drawn today? Yes, I got my blood drawn today. I don't know where the results are. So I get in my car and start driving to the clinic that I got my blood drawn from. And in that driving process, Heartland calls me and was like, hey, we got your test results. It's positive. So at this point, I am in my car, which I did not expect. I was already adrenaline rushed trying to go find these test results. So I found it in my car, driving. I came back home and I actually quickly made a cute little onesie that just said, like, I have the best daddy ever. And kind of waited for him to find me with the onesie. And that's how I told him. But I did tell him right away.
And his reaction, because CJ's total, like, girl dad vibes. Like, what was his reaction when you told him?
Yeah,
that?
I remember him just crying. I remember him hugging me. I did record it, of course, because I need to see that. Yeah, he was so excited, and then kind of just keeping that in and protecting us, protecting everybody, but wanting to share in that joy.
How hard was that going from you're pregnant, you do want to tell the world, mm-hmm. but because of the infertility struggles, IVF, the going through it once and then the transfer not working, how was that having to, like you said, like shield yourself and mm-hmm. keep that in, but yet you want to be joyous, you're pregnant, it's the best thing that's happened to you. Yeah. Like take me through those emotions.
Yeah, so I think it's really hard when you go through infertility of when should you tell, right? Every woman even goes through that of how long should I wait, should I tell right away? And really it's whatever you want. I've learned, like, be happy in every single moment. I mean, there was times where I was the highest of highs and then it came crashing down, and you want to protect yourself, but every little joy in the journey is so great.
So I always tell you, you have a sweetheart husband. Were there times during all of this, now after you have Paisley or before, that really put a strain on you guys, and how did you guys navigate that?
Yeah, I think he is so wonderful, and like he will do anything for this journey. He has supported me through all of it. He's given me every single shot that I've needed, which has been hundreds if I were to start count. He's done every doctor's appointment that I've ever asked him to do. He's been there. He really has kind of held us all together, kind of when I was ready to fall apart or I was ready to give up, and he never pushed me one way or the other. He was always accepting of like, Allison wants to do this, let's do it then, like, let's go.
Did you guys ever seek outside support, like other people going through it or therapy or anything like that, or did you keep it kind of in-house, I would say?
Yeah, we kind of kept it close. We had family, we had friends, we had people praying over us, we had people giving us text messages. The biggest thing that I learned through all of like the process and who shows up is like, you just show up. I've learned that a lot of, you know what, you don't know what they're going through, you don't know if they actually want you there, but you just show up. Whether that be like with your presence, with a text message, people want you there.
Were there times going through it, like you said, obviously you had some lows. Were there times people were wanting to show up, but you kind of needed that space to, I need the space, please,
Yeah, for sure. And I think I kind of put that on CJ a little bit of, you know what, I want them here, but I don't. Like, I can't talk about it right now. I don't want to see anybody. I just want to be left alone. I remember there was like one day where I'm not getting out of bed. Like, I'm going to sit here and just kind of take it all in, right?
Feel the emotions.
Yeah, I wanted to feel the emotions, feel it real. So I mean, sometimes I probably did push people away, but just knowing like they want to be here.
I want to take a look at school. Mm-hmm. So you are a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a hard job in general. Mm-hmm. So what was it like going through this, having to do your job? Because like I said, you are a third grade teacher. That's hard in general. Mm-hmm. So what was that like, having to keep it together, obviously, at your job?
Right.
Being around kids and all the things that go with that.
Yeah, showing up is sometimes the hardest thing of, you know what, all teachers bring baggage, and I was just bringing this infertility baggage with me and having to put that aside for a little bit and be a great teacher. My coworkers, my administration has been wonderful. When I finally accepted, like, this is my journey and I'm going to have to tell people, they have been nothing but great. There was times, I mean, I've been taking off half a days or taking off full days just to go to appointments, and I've had nothing but grace this entire time. But showing up for other kids can be difficult, right? And putting that baggage aside, but knowing this is my job now and having great support at school as well.
How was it having to not only accept that this is your journey, like you just said, but telling others, mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going through this. Yeah. And this is my reality now.
Right. I think when I had a weight released off my shoulders is when I finally did tell people. So if I were to give advice to anyone going through this, it's share your story. After it was like not so much a secret to me and everybody else knew, it was really nice to just be like, no, this is what I'm doing. Like, I have to go do this, or I have to go take a shot, or I have to go to a doctor's appointment. Like, this is what's going to happen. And kind of even just sharing the backstory and knowing other women are going through it as well, is kind of when I really felt a big relief of, this is just part of my story and who we are and our marriage and our family and how we're going to grow our family.
And I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Mm-hmm. It is so hard. I'm like, even the first step of accepting and telling a doctor, I need help getting pregnant. I just remember going back to that of, it was like the last thing I did at my checkup. It was, okay, yep, looks good, everything. Do you have any questions? And, oh, by the way, I need help getting pregnant, or what do I do next? Yeah.
And that's a big thing in general, too. in any situation to say, I need help, but for a woman trying to get pregnant to say that's the reality. I need help.
And me personally, I feel like I love to be in control, right? I'm going to control this.
Yep.
I'm going to make sure this happens. I'm going to have control of this. And not having control of this, really for the last 4 or 5 years of not having any control, has really taught me patience, which obviously I needed in my life. Practicing patience, knowing I'm not in control. You know what? I'm going to have to be patient. I'm going to have to figure out these challenges, but I'm not the one in control.
Then you'll be okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be okay.
I want to talk about Miss Paisley.
Okay.
You know, I love her. What was it like holding her after going through everything you went through? What was it like holding her for the first time?
Wow. Our journey to delivery with Paisley was
I think you need to share that story.
Okay.
I like this story.
So, segment from the infertility journey. Here's how Paisley came about. So, I'm at home. I'm cooking dinner, making sure we're meal prepping. I'm not due for another month.
Which is a challenge in itself because she was early.
Right. She was early. Next thing you know, I think my water breaks. I text some of my friends, who, by the way, don't even have children. And it's like, how do you know if your water broke? And they're like, I don't know. I don't have kids. So then I call my mom. How do you know your water broke? Because, I don't know, am I peeing my pants? But I know if you're peeing your pants, right? Call the doctor. Okay. Doctor says, go to the hospital. Okay, well, at this point, I'm at home alone. I get my bag ready. I've packed my bag. CJ did not. Baby's bag is packed. I get to the hospital. I don't know where I'm going. Nobody is helping me. I get to the elevator. The elevator isn't working. It's not closing its doors. But there's a nice gentleman in there. Okay. But I'm also not going to have a baby with this gentleman in the elevator. I find the stairs. Because who wouldn't find the stairs as you're leaking everywhere?
Why would you not want to walk up the stairs?
Oh, I did. I walk up the stairs to second floor. You can't get in second floor. Obviously.
This isn't going to be
maternity ward.
Why would you need to get in there?
So I walk back down the stairs, still leaking everywhere, and go back to the elevator. Somebody has to help me, right? The nice man is still there in the elevators, but he has nurses with him now. He's like, come with us. Are you the lady? Yep, I'm the lady. We finally get in the elevator. The elevator closes. I'm freaking out the whole time. At least we have nurses, right? Get to where I need to be in the second floor, and I still don't know where to go. Everybody scatters.
Good luck.
So I find the doors, ring the doorbell. Hey, I think my water broke. I think this is where I'm supposed to be. Okay, come on in. At this point, I call my mom. She had known. She comes up. CJ is still trying to come back from work. He was working about an hour away. They test everything and triage. Yep, it's your water. You're gonna have a baby today. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's finally move over. My mom's still there. CJ's there. And I got there about 1 o'clock, and I had Paisley at 11:45. CJ was there. My mom was there. Joe Holmes was there. It was so amazing. I knew when my mom was there, she wasn't going to leave, which was great, right? I joke with her all the time of, we knew you weren't leaving. But I'm so glad that she was there. She's been with us through this entire journey and kind of seeing the full circle. I remember Paisley, I did not know if it was a boy or girl. So she came out, and I'm like, what is it? What do we have? And the doctor's like, oh yeah, you don't know, do you?
Oh yeah, you don't know.
So we had a sweet little girl, and she was crying, and they laid her on my chest, and then she just stopped crying. And I just remember my mom saying, like, there's your mama. And yeah, and then after that, she needed help breathing, so then she was taken to the NICU, which are wonderful people as well, and CJ got to go with her until I got to see her the next morning.
What was it like when you finally got to take Miss Paisley home?
We spent 10 days in the NICU, which was, the days were long. I remember just saying, like, I'll get it figured out. Let me take her home. I'll make sure she's fed, and kind of coaxing the doctors of, like, please just let me take her home. But I knew that was the best place for her. When we were able to take her home, I, of course, sat in the back seat. And
every mom does.
And I told CJ, this is the way we're going to go. We're going to go on this road and this road and this road. It probably took us a half hour to get 10 minutes, but I thought it was the safest route, which it probably wasn't. I don't know. But just being overwhelmed of how are we going to get home? When I first got home, I kind of went to her bedroom and was like, you know what? We spent 1,529 days and we prayed for this room to be filled. And Paisley Grace, it's you. Just knowing like, this is your room. This is what we've wanted. We've prayed for it. We've had people pray for us. And now it's finally here. It's finally happening. And also not really knowing what to do. Like, now we have a newborn, and now what? We've waited this long, but now what?
What do we do with you now?
What do we do with you now? But no, it's been great ever since.
Something that you posted probably a year ago, maybe. It still resonates with me. So I want to talk about it. You posted, it's, quote, just Halloween, but holidays like this carry so much more than just. When I saw that, I still think about it to this day. To a lot of people, some things, big or small, are just. But for you, because everything you had to go through, it's never just.
Right. Yeah. When I just remember you had saying, side note, Raina is my daycare person. So Raina's like, we're having daycare party, dress up. So in the morning right away, I remember getting Paisley ready and just kind of sitting there crying of, this is just Halloween. It's just dressing up. It's just going to get candy, walking around. But like, I've been waiting for this day to dress her up. Just like seeing pictures of other families doing it. That has been kind of the hardest thing of like, seeing everybody else growing and seeing everyone else get to do things that I waited and waited for. And yeah, it's just Halloween, but I finally got that opportunity to do things. And really a lot of her firsts, I probably celebrated way too big, way too hard. I mean, every monthly birthday, as we call it, her cookie birthday.
Yes, crumble cookie.
We got crumble cookie every single month. And just a couple days ago, she was 23 months. So CJ and I are like, hey, it's her cookie birthday. No, we didn't get crumble. We should have.
Yeah, you should have.
But every little first was a big first for us.
Nothing is ever just.
No.
And like I said, that still resonates with me because now I saw that and I try to do that because, okay, yeah, it might be just for me, but for someone else it's not. So I should think that way.
Right. And I have so many pictures of Paisley just doing things, taking her first steps or crawling or, I don't know, playing in the bathtub or going on a walk every single time I'm taking a picture.
So you mentioned daycare. What was it like after being home with, finally getting your baby girl, being able to be on maternity leave and be with her every second of the day, to have to send her to daycare so you can go back and teach? What was that like?
I had taken 12 weeks off to spend with her, and then CJ kind of took that last 13 week. I remember trying to find a daycare first. Did I want to do a center? Did I want to do an in-home? What are my options? Do I stay close to home? Do I stay close to work? And I remember coming across you, of course, and finally getting to meet you, but still so scared. I didn't know you. And I remember dropping her off the first day and going into the school building, and I was asked, is this your first day back? Because everyone was so excited. It was August. It was September, but still beginning of the school year. Is this your first day back? And I am just crying like, yes, this is my first day back. My baby's at a new person's house. I don't know what's happening. And then getting some first day of daycare pictures kind of eased my mind. And I was telling all my coworkers who probably hear a lot of this of like, look what Raina just took. She just sent this to me. And just like, okay, it's going to be okay. And even now with Paisley being almost 2 and knowing who you are, knowing where the house is, and her just loving to come to daycare and being so happy we joke because when we drop Paisley off, she's very clingy at first or mad, and then it takes her a minute and she sees Raina, and then she's like grabbing for her and she's like, bye, see ya, giving me kisses, like, Mom, get out the door, my friends are here, it's time to be with Raina. So just knowing like she's safe, she's loved, she's fed well.
Snack queen gets annoyed when we stand and talk in the doorway for a half hour, and she's bye. I told you bye.
It's time to leave.
Speaking more of Miss Paisley, you sent me a Snapchat the other day of her breaking your flower pot. Do you ever feel, when she's just, quote, being a kid, do you ever feel guilty for getting mad at her from going what you went through? Right. Or do you ever feel the pressure of you should just be grateful all the time, no matter what?
Yeah, and really it kind of puts things into perspective. Did she pull down the flowers in the house? Yes. But did it hurt any? But like, the big picture is it was an accident. She didn't do it on purpose. Maybe. I don't know. But kind of really putting things into perspective is really what I try to do. Of, this is just minor, right? She is 2. And with any family, any mom, any kid, really putting everything into perspective. This is just a little problem. Don't make it a big reaction. Yeah.
That's hard to do in general.
Right.
Especially with a 2-year-old.
In all areas of life.
I want you to talk about what you would tell someone who's just beginning this journey. Or what would you say to your younger self, looking back at what you've gone through? Yeah,
one thing that I really learned through this entire process, when I was really going through it, I had a lot of mentors and church friends and women in my life who taught me you can feel 2 emotions at once. You can feel both and, right? You can feel both happy and you can be grieving at the same time. I remember having my friends or my family bringing in new babies into our family and just being so happy for them. I love being an aunt. Is one of the top favorite things that I get to do. I get to spoil them and then I get to send them home, right? But knowing I love these little people so much, and I am grieving so hard. I want this for my family. I want to share in this joy with them. And I hope that they understand that as well. Baby showers, pregnancy announcements, all the things. I'm so happy for every couple. But also I am grieving. I'm grieving a loss, or I'm grieving the way life should have been. And knowing not only is this my story, but this might be a lot of other women's story of you want to show up for other people. You're so excited for them, but you're also grieving. And just hoping that your family and friends understand that and respect you for that. And I still want to be invited. I still want to be a part of it, but I might show my emotions in other ways.
Are there certain do's and don'ts for someone going through this? Like, is there certain things that you should not bring up to someone going through all this? Or are there things that, that is helpful?
Right. I think the biggest thing, right, everybody talks about this, don't ask people when they're going to get pregnant, right? Some families grow in different ways. There's adoption, there's IVF, there's natural conception. There's some families who don't want kids, and that's okay. But also knowing myself personally, which is not every female, every woman, I'm okay right now sharing my story. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I probably would have kind of shut down a little bit. Right now, I feel like I'm in a good place. If somebody were to ask me a question, I'm ready to share it. I'm ready to tell the world. I remember in the early stages of this, of talking out with my church group, or even just like saying it to myself, someday there's going to be a reason. Like, I'm going to figure out why I'm going through this. What is my purpose through this? And really trying to figure out, what's the purpose? Why am I going through this? Why me, right? That's the biggest thing of why me. But I was adamant that I was going to figure that out. And hopefully within the next couple years, even just sharing my story right now, I'm able to be like, this is why I needed to do this. I needed to learn patience. I needed to let go of control. Women needed to hear this story. And now that I'm okay with it, like, let's do it. Let's share it.
What words of encouragement do you have for someone that's just starting?
It's hard. It is so hard. I went back into my notes on my phone, and some of my friends had said, write this all down. And in the moment, I'm like texting away on my phone, like, this is what happened. I'm done. I don't know how I can go on anymore. And it is so hard, but it's gonna work out, whether that be you take the route to adoption, or you take the route to IVF, or you become foster parents. Whichever road you're gonna take, you're gonna do it for a purpose, and your story is gonna be shared.
You mentioned you wrote stuff down in your phone.
Yeah, I did.
Elaborate. Did you write every, journals? Have you looked at those?
Yeah, I kind of wrote down every time I went to a doctor's appointment, because it is such a roller coaster of emotions. Like, this is what happened at this appointment. This is what happened at this appointment. And then I started to get into, like, this is how I'm feeling at this point. I remember I just recently went back to them, and I haven't gone back to them in a long time, of rereading. And when I knew that I couldn't conceive naturally, I remember writing down, like, I'm done. I'm not doing IVF. I'm not doing this. And there was one moment after my surgery, I was talking to my mom, and she kind of asked, like, what's next? And I said, well, my doctor wants to do this, and I don't think I can. And she goes, nope, we're doing it. We're gonna do this. And just knowing, like, I have a great support system, with my family and my friends, and it is so hard, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but just knowing you find the right people, and one way or the other, whichever route you decide to take, you're going to come out and you're going to have a purpose for it.
Are you doing those journals this time too?
I think I should, just to kind of compare what it is with a toddler now and doing the egg retrieval and the IVF process again. I am nervous for it, as always. You never know what's going to happen, right? There's going to be days, I'm sure, where it's going to be the highest of highs, and then it's going to come crashing down. But just being prepared for that, and knowing I can go back and look at these in 10, 15 years, and this is still a part of my story, and this is how I felt, but I made it out.
And do you think it might be cool to share with Paisley someday?
Yeah, I am very hopeful of, what, someday Paisley's going to know her story, and how much she's loved, and how much she was wanted and prayed for. And every time she gives us a little sass, I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted.
She does not disappoint.
Just knowing, like, I prayed for this one day, and here it is. Like, you prayed for this. You
wanted me, Mom.
Yeah, you prayed for this sass. I'm going to give it to you all the way.
What's next for Allison, CJ, and Paisley?
Yeah, we're hopeful to do another egg retrieval, a couple more transfers, if God willing, and continue to grow our family.
Allison, thank you for your honesty and vulnerability. You've given a voice to something so many go through silently. To our listeners, whether you're in this chapter, past it, or supporting someone through it, we see you. And we hope today's episode offered a little comfort, clarity, or connection. We'll see you next time on Her View from Within. Be sure to follow on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify. Thanks for listening.